In this lesson of Power Apps, let's see about filter, search, lookup, and also sort. Okay, so this is very important concept in Power Apps, and we generally, when we have the requirements, we will filter our gallery or we can search in our gallery. So all these things we will do in the actual data retrieval from some kind of gallery or data table, right? Okay, so here let's say check about the filter first. So we can apply this filter on gallery or data table. So to invoke this we need to uh, use filter function, and this can be applied on the items property of the gallery or data table. So, and also the syntax is filter of, first it will ask for a data source, maybe it will be a collection or a SharePoint list or an Excel file. Okay, so and next we can give the field name, and the field name to suppose you can see the example here. Here the filter we are applying on the mobiles SharePoint list, and we are showing the content with the cost greater than 5,000. So it will show all the mobiles which are more than 5,000. Okay, so in the gallery or the data table. So the other example, we can apply this on some kind of dates, date formats or date columns. I have a date column in the SharePoint list which is known as published date, and here I am giving the formula, so it will display the last 10 days records. We have a date add, and today minus 10, it will give the last 10 days. Okay, now let's see the demo on the filters. Let's go to our canvas app and select the canvas tablet. Here click create. So in the Power Apps, it's loading up now. So generally when we are creating Power Apps, it will take some time to load up, and here select a background to our screen. So now let's add one SharePoint list. So I have SharePoint list with the name student registration with column student name, class, fees, group, section. Here group and section are choice fields. Let's check in the list settings what are exactly the column types for this list. Here the title is single line of text, and class single line of text, group and section are choice fields, fees is number. Okay, so student name is also single line of text. So with these kind of columns in that list student registration, let's create these filtering. So now let's go and add the SharePoint. So add the SharePoint connector, and it will ask us from which SharePoint site we need to take the data. So there is a SharePoint lessons, and from the SharePoint lessons site just select student registration list, and now we need to say assign this data to a data table or gallery. So here I am choose data table, and now I am assigning this data source student list to this data table. So you can see now all the data rendered into the data table in the Power Apps. So let's adjust according to the design this data table, and now let's apply some design. So I'm applying some design here, little bit of design for my this Power App. These all are not required, but to look the screen in a nice manner, so we can view here. So now let's insert the label on the top, and we can give the header as filters. Okay, so now the main of this screen is to filter items. Okay, so let's see how this filter function will work here first. So I want to show the mobiles, the student name here we have given. So I want to show the fees paid by the student, which is maybe greater than 2000. Okay, for that I will write a filter here now. So to filter it, we can apply these filters on the data table items property. If you select the data table, on the top left you can see items. So in the items we can write this filter. So let's invoke this filter. So here the filter syntax is, it will accept a data source first. Okay, so let's see. Let's write filter in the source as SharePoint list, and write your logical test condition fees greater than 2000. So it will show all the items in the data table where the column fees value is greater than 2000. See now. Let's take a preview, and you can see all these items fees are greater than 2000. In this way we can use the filters in PowerApps. Okay, so now we can add more than one filter condition here, logical condition. Here we have written fees greater than 2000, and we can apply for this condition to other column also. Here I am giving a section, and since section is a choice field, we can write section dot value equal to A or D. Okay, so now section is a choice field, so we need to write section equal to D. We have written, but it's showing some error because it's a choice field. We need to write section dot value. Okay, so let's add that value here, and let's go and check the preview. And now you can see all the sections, the fee is greater than 2000, and also the section is D. So we can apply multiple conditions, logical conditions based on the columns values with this filter. Okay, so now this is all about the filtering condition which we can do with by invoking the filter, right? So we have added here two columns, one is fees and the other one is section. Okay, so now let's this filter is having a source and some conditions here, so we must remember that always. Anyways, it will show the syntax on the top. Okay, so now let's see the other topic, search. Okay, so this search actually it's also filters the data. So this will work with a single text in one or more columns. Okay, the single text, for the single text we will give a text box generally, or you can hard code in this function search. So this search is also will need a data source and a search string, where the search string we can get from the text box in the PowerApps form. And next we can give the fields, field 1, field 2. For example, we can search mobiles in the text box, text search the title of the mobiles. And for more than one field, we can give the columns in the double quotes. Okay, we can give, and also the search function is easier to read and write than filter. If you want to specify multiple columns and multiple in operators, you must enclose the names of the columns in double quotation marks. So if anybody asks you which is easier, you can always tell search function is easier according to Microsoft. Okay, so now you need to always remember the text search is a text box where the search string we will get. Okay, now let's we have seen the example here. So, and also for the one field and more than one field. Okay, so all this must be in double quotation marks. The columns especially with which we are searching. Now let's see the demo. So now let's go and check. We will apply this on the student registration SharePoint list, like what we have done before for the filters. Okay, so we can make use of this SharePoint list, and let's go to our PowerApps and go to edit here, and for this search let's add one text box. Let's add one text box here. So bring the text box on the top left corner of the data table. So here set some properties for the text box, and in the hint text we write search, so that it will show in a nice way in the text box. So now let's use of this data table, for which the data source is student registration list. Okay, now you can see here, let's write search, and it's asking a data source. So in the source we will give the list. Okay, so and we need to give the text here. So what is the text box name? Text input 1 dot text, or whatever we want we can write here. The name of the text box is compulsory here. This will act like a search string, and comma the column name. So for which the column name you want. For student name I want now, for now we can have for the student name, and you can see it's written in a table format. Okay, now let's check something in the text search, and I type here my name here, B means you got two valid entries. So like this the search is working fine now. So it's working nice with all the letters initially. So this is how the search will work. Okay, so we can also write one more column, so that the search string will search in both the columns, student name, and if you want to write title you can also do that, but the search must be there in both title and student name. Okay, so here I am writing young M is available in all the things here. So if I write MA, so it is checking this MA is available in the student name and the title, and it gives us one entry. So now let's go and see the other filtering option, like or search. Now I'm commenting this. Let's check the lookup in data table or gallery here. So this lookup function finds the first record in the table that satisfies a formula. It will be only the first record, one record. So the single record we can say. Okay, if suppose that matches one or more criteria, the criteria we have, if it matches, it will give the single record here. So you can always see the example lookup of ice cream is a data source name and comma is a column name flavor, which is equal to vanilla, which so that it will show the data where the column name, column value equal to vanilla. Okay, so searches for a record with flavor equal to vanilla and of which there is one. Since there is no reduction formula supplied, the entire record is written. So with the lookup, the entire record, single record will be written. So we can make use of a local variable, and we can get this lookup value as a record and assign this record to a variable, and from that variable, if you write dot, it will give the particular column value. So we can make use of that. So here you can see here we are writing a lookup student name equal to Kaveri. So here it will return only one record. We got one record here, right? Instead of the hard coding the value there, we can also use a drop down so that it will help us in filtering of the data with the lookup, but we will get only single value here. Okay, this is all about filters, search and lookup. This is very important while doing the projects. In this lesson, let's see how we can combine filter and search. We learned about filter and search in the previous lesson and their demos, and now let's see how we can combine both of these, filter and search. Okay, so first we need to write our invoke search function, and in the search we will give data source and data search dot text one text box with the column name, right? We already know that. So here the trick is instead of this data source, okay, we need to give the filter now. Okay, so we need to filter the data source with our whatever we have, whatever drop down controls we have, and give that filter function in the place of this data source. Just replace that and combine these two, and you will get this formula as search filter and mobiles drop down and comma search text column name. Okay, let's see this how it will work for us. Okay, so we in this lesson we will take one drop down control and assign to our choice fields in the SharePoint list. Okay, so for that let's go to the PowerApps. So here now you can see the previously we have used a search box here, and now we will input one drop down, and assign this drop down with the choice column. So in my SharePoint list, I already told you I have a choice columns here, group and section. So this group will be assigned to this choice column here. So in this this is my drop down, and I'm assigning now the choice column from this drop down. Okay, choices. Since it's a complex field, we need to write choices of column name. So column name will come from the student registration dot group. Okay, so now you can see all the groups in this drop down, right? Okay, now let's go to the search here. Go to the data table and select the items, and let's write the formula here, complete formula here. Combine search and filter. Okay, so now we need to write carefully here. First I will write search, and here the data source is student registration for us, and the text column is text input one dot text, and here I'm giving the student name as my column name to search. Okay, now it's done. This is now let's replace this with the filter function now. Okay, so first write the filter function. How you will write here the filter function? So let's keep in comments first. Filter will ask us the source name, student registration, comma, it is will ask group dot value, because group is a choice field, so we need to give group dot value equal to drop down one dot selected dot value. Okay, so now replace filter, this one is there, right? This formula replace the student registration here. Okay, now copy this, cut it, or wait, we can cut this one, and I'm adding here in the student or first format text, in the place of student registration I'm adding this one. Okay, now you can see here the filter student registration, I'm selected value, all these things we have written, and let's go and see here how it is going to work. And now you can see, if I see here by PC, I'm getting all this filtering. Okay, and if I give by PC, and if I want to search with the name Krishna, so it is searching with the both. Okay, I'm also can search. Now it is checking with all this. Okay, now these two are working now, and let me add one more drop down with the section. Okay, and let's check how it will work with all these three filters. Okay, now you can see I have added this filtering in the search for the combine. So now it's working fine, and let's make it little bit more complex by adding one more filter condition here. Okay, so here the next filter condition is I can take here one more filter condition but before we need to add one drop down, right? So let me add that drop down first. So here I will add a drop down with the section here. Okay, so go to my input here, drop down, and bring it and assign the section column for this. So this is a drop down with the name drop down 2, and the drop down 2 is having the properties items here. Here now I'm assigning one choice field, choices of student registration comma section. Okay, since it's a choice field, so it will sync nicely with this drop down. Okay, so now you can see here we got three filterings ready to work here. Now let's add this formula, and the formula also go to the data table, and the items we have added group dot value drop down one dot selected value, and like this we will add one more here group section. Now section, and section is a choice field, so we need to write dot value here. Okay, equal to drop down 2 dot selected dot value. Okay, now let's check how it will work. Here in the filter we have given two columns to search, and we added a drop down here, and let's see. Now in the MPC we got a section here because I selected A here. In the BPC nothing is here. MVC also nothing here. If I select D here and I select here BPC, you can see these three things. Now these two are syncing now, BPC D, and you can see this working fine. And if I select SA, and you can see here two people are coming. Now these three things are working fine. Okay, but the thing here is if I open my app here, what's happening is, suppose I will save this app first. Okay, let me save this app with the name combine filters. Okay, let me save this, and it's saving now. What is the main problem here is, even if my drop downs are empty, then I need to show all the data now. Okay, but here what's happening here is, if you see, I will close this. Okay, if I open this app freshly here, apps, and you can see here our drop downs are populating with some values, but I want this drop downs should be populate with nothing, like empty must come here. I want to show all the data in the data table when all these drop downs are empty now. Okay, so how to achieve that one? So for that, what we can do is, let's go to our app now, and there is an option in drop downs to keep them as empty. Okay, so let's work on that, and little bit of code we need to write to tweak that. Okay, so let's see how it will work now. 1 minute, let me see how it will add this one. Let's skip it here, and here select the drop down. First select the drop down here and go to the properties, and you can see here allow empty selection false. Okay, so let make it true here. allow empty selection true, and let's go and see if it comes. Nothing is coming here. Allow allow empty selection, and like for this also we can give allow empty selection true, right? And here let's go to the property and see default is 1. Let's remove this. I will also remove this one, and now you can see here everything is coming in the empty, but we cannot see here the data. Okay, now initially when there is no selection of these drop downs, we need to see all the data, but we are not seeing here. And how to achieve this one? Okay, for this we need to little bit write tweak code or whatever you say. Go to the data table here, and let's come here, and we can write here a simple thing, something like this, is blank. Okay, to check whether is empty or whatever here is empty of drop down dot selected value. Okay, and we can write here or. So like this, if you write for the same thing, we can write here drop down to if sometimes it will show, or we can write here blank or okay. After why I am writing this here means like if it is blank, the drop down dot selected value is blank. If it is false, it will show all the values. If it is false here, it will show all the values here. Okay, now let's save this, and let's check how it will work. See, now you can see all the items now. Okay, so here you can see all the items first, right? Now what happening is this is just a little logic here, that's all. Here if the drop down selected value is empty, is blank, so what I am doing, or it means or this is if it is blank, or means this condition also will apply here. Then group value is we need to assign all the values here. So like this. Okay, student registration will take this as a like or condition like that. Okay, it will apply if it is blank, drop down dot selected value. If it is empty value, show the values. Okay, like that. Okay, if it is empty value, show. So now let's go to the filtering, and now here search with something here first. I'm searching with Bharat here, it is working now. Okay, if I select here MPC, or here by PC is there, right? 1 2 3 4 5 items are there for by PC. If I select this one group, it must show 5 items. It is showing 5 items, 1 2 3 4 5 items. And in this by PC, if I select D, I must see only 1 2 3 items here. Okay, D, I can see 3 items here. Okay, this is how you can do multiple filterings in the PowerApps. Okay, I am just showing again the formula here, what I have written this one. Okay, we can also try like this and achieve this combination of search and filter.